Hello and welcome to Diniz Farms. We're back with another episode of Mercer County, and as promised, we are going to be upgrading into a full custom spraying setup. I have here a new mod that was recently released on my Discord server of all places, and so this is an edit to the New Holland SP400F, and what it does is it adds both sprayer section control and the new boom auto adjust mod so that the booms will not hit the ground. And so I wanted to try both of these things out, and so we're gonna get this thing unloaded here, and we have a little bit of leftover fertilizer from earlier in the year that we're going to fill this thing up with to start with. And we also swapped out the step deck trailer here with the fertilizer variant. Now, the tanks do still show with the herbicide on there, but believe me, this is the fertilizer variant, and so with that, we have these two pallets that we'd bought previously that we've been hanging on to demo the fertilizer variant of this cart. So the first thing we need is to put some water in, so we are going to do the super strength shuffle here to get everything loaded in there, just to demo that it's working appropriately here. And so if we put one thing of water and one thing of fertilizer in, you can see that we've got our components. I'm going to turn the trailer on, so it should mix up a little bit of a liquid fertilizer here. We don't quite have enough water in here though, so we are going to need to buy a little bit more water to keep this kind of moving. But you can see for every 1,000 liters of water, it's mixing 20 liters of the fertilizer in here. And this sprayer here was somewhat expensive. This ran $360,000. The trailer was another probably $60,000-$70,000 with the sprayer cradle. Unfortunately, the one small problem we're going to have with this setup is that the sprayer cradle is just a little bit narrow for this sprayer, and the sprayer doesn't have the wheel option where the wheels can be made wider or narrower to the rows. And so we are going to have to load this thing up carefully, and it'll sit at just the slightest angle on the trailer, unfortunately. But the trade-off for the functionality of being able to load up our sprayer and move it around is worth it, I feel. I'm really loving the step deck here, and we're going to come in here. We do need to buy just a little bit more of this water. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, I think there's some different options for how we could get water loaded up here with Global Company, but I think this is going to work out for the time being. So we're just going to buy, probably, a handful of these real quick. And if we hop into the truck, we'll be able to auto load them pretty quickly. So I'm going to load this thing up here, and we'll get this backed up and pulled over here to the water trailer. And just like that, we've gotten it all loaded up, so I think we're pretty good. The only problem we're having is because we don't have this thing set on the step deck very well. It's a little tippy, so we're gonna move it over just a smidge and see if we can prevent this thing from rocking back and forth. This is a problem with the farm sim physics here because we're not appropriately loading our trailer up. And so with that, we have got a ton of fertilizer contracts here, so we want to grab some of these and see if we can recoup some of our money. I'm looking here. I'd like to find something close to start with, and so all of our fields here are in the 20s, so if I could find something in the teens or 26 or 27, that would be the preferable number here. So it looks like we do have a fertilizing contract on 27 that we can grab. And so I'm going to go ahead and accept that contract right out of the gate. That's a healthy $25,000 here. And so we're going to get this all loaded up and head over to our field here. Field 27 being right up here in the corner. And so it's just a short drive away for us. So we're going to park here across the road from our field. Give us plenty of room to unload here. I do want to check this. It looks like we need to start this up to create some more fertilizer here. I'd really like to top our sprayer off before we get started here, so we're going to go ahead and get this off of the step deck real quick and see if we can top off our fertilizer, because I'd like to see how far we get on one tank with the sprayer here. I know the intent is to ideally drive this around on the step deck, but it could be easier for us to just drive the sprayer out for some of these smaller fields. We're out of fertilizer. Let's come right over here real quick. Oh, we are making more. Okay, I'm just impatient. So we hold 1,600 gallons here out of the gate. We are going to figure out the best way to spray this field. I think we're actually going to just start over here along the tree line. And I do like that we've got the sprayer section control on here. We've only got 5 sections, it looks like, but that's okay. It should be better than having no sections. And I'm really curious to see how this boom height functionality works. And so we're going to get everything all unfolded here. It looks like we're a front-mounted sprayer, which is cool. I know a lot of the John Deere sprayers that I've used are rear-mounted. And before we hop into this, it looks like we had our planter over here finishing up the soybeans in field 22, and it's all done. So I'm going to go ahead and stop course play here, pull this guy off of the field, and let this worker go home. We'll get this guy back up to the farm here at a later time, but it is exciting to have all of our planting done for the season and be jumping into this custom spraying work here a little bit to hopefully make ends meet. As I mentioned, we're now $565,000 in debt after we've demoed some different stuff and eventually bought this particular sprayer. So I'm excited to give this a try. We are going to lower the booms a bit here since the crop is pretty low. I want to keep it close-ish to the ground, and hopefully that'll give us an opportunity to try out this boom height stuff. We are going to deactivate automatic spraying so that we can adjust the rate down a bit here. Because we're only doing one pass here, and so I'm kind of curious to see what my options are. It says no values detected yet because we're spraying on a field that we don't have precision farming data on. So from a contract perspective, that's going to be interesting. I think for purposes of what we're doing, we're going to go ahead and uncover all the fields on the map for precision farming, just because if we were doing some custom farming here for a farmer, he would have that data available as far as what we should be spraying. And we're going to be doing 20 kilograms per hectare here for this particular spray, which is both going to be easy on our wallet and let us kind of get a feel for this sprayer and what we've got going on here. And so I want to get a GPS track set up as well. So we're going to go ahead and get that going here. Should help us tackle this field. This is the same width of a sprayer that we had with the pull behind. This should be a 36-meter sprayer. If we jump in cab here and actually turn our HUD down, we do still have the sprayer section control HUD, but we can turn that off as well. You can see here we've got a pretty good view of our left and right booms. Looking down is still a little bit interesting, but we can adjust up and down here on the boom. And so I'm really liking the interior on this sprayer. I think it looks good. Like I said, I think the edit that we're playing with here is essentially to add the sprayer section control and the boom support and such to this mod. I will put a link to this edit in the description of the video. Like I said, this is something one of the members of the Discord server released this edit on the Kedrick Farms Discord server. And so I'm super appreciative to be able to try this out and you know, put it through its paces, and I think hopefully we're going to be able to repay some of our debt here that we took out to acquire this sprayer. It's a little bit fun to try out something that's a little bit different here. It's not a John Deere sprayer, that's for sure. And it looks a little bit different with the way the front booms are working here compared to a lot of the other sprayers in game that I've had a chance to play with. So this particular field doesn't have a lot of elevation here for us to try out the auto boom adjustment. I think if I put this really low and then try to, you know, run into a hill or something here at some point, we might be able to test it out. So we'll have to find a place to put this through its paces. But other than that, we are covering a lot of acres here, and we've only used about 20% of our liquid fertilizer. And so I think for smaller contracts, we can actually forego completely loading this thing up on the truck and driving it around the map. We're very likely going to be able to just hop in the sprayer and drive out to a particular field, which is going to work out really well for us, especially given that this thing just doesn't quite fit onto the step deck cradle. So we're gonna kind of hit this corner here and go around and take this little bit off up by the barns here. We are doing contracts, so at some point FarmSim is going to tell us that we've done enough, and we'll be able to complete our contract. But in the meantime, I think this will fit perfectly. This looks like it's just about the right width. Not quite. We've got just a little strip over there. But this will be where sprayer section control comes in handy probably. We'll be able to pick up that strip with just one section of the sprayer as opposed to the entire boom. We're going to back up here and see if I can take it with just the outside boom rather than hitting multiple sections. There we go. Perfect. And so I really love when sprayers have the sprayer section control mod set up on them. This just makes life both easier and feels a lot more realistic. So it has turned into sprayer week here on the Kettering Farms channel. I think we've been playing with different sprayers in all of the series that we're running here. This will be probably the third video in a row that we've done something with sprayers, and so at least in this series we're going to do a little bit more custom spraying here on the map. As we get into other farming, we'll be able to kind of continue through with the spraying while we're harvesting our wheat and such here in the near future. I think we're a day or two away from being able to harvest wheat if we get our guy on the appropriate GPS track here and open up the HUD. I'm off just a little bit. We're a few days away, but wheat harvest is coming soon here, right in the middle of summer. And so I'm really looking forward to getting started on that and kind of seeing how well that yields and if that's worth it in the future to continue doing that. With that said though, we've made a pretty hefty investment into this spraying setup at this point, plus additional investments into chemical costs and whatnot, and so we're already at 60% of our capacity here. We've used up a good 600 gallons of spray already, and so that's the other concerning part with spraying, is that you do have to think about how much chemical you're using with the spray mechanics, because that's going to eat into our profit margin somewhat significantly. And so even at the lowest spray level here with precision farming, we are still really burning through the fertilizer here. The good thing is with the improved spray mechanics here with the Wilson step deck that we're using, we're saving a little bit money on our costs. It's not quite the same level as base game fertilizing costs. I still have to run some numbers and check compared to, you know, maybe some more realistic costs. I know we've had a conversation in the community around what good costs would be for spray per acre, and so I'd really like to make sure that those are tweaked to, you know, kind of feel realistic. I think right now the Fact that our spray costs a little bit less is offset by the fact that I'm paying $400 per 1,000 liters of water. And so at the end of the day, I think the costs right now end up to be somewhat similar to base game chemical costs. I think that that's probably why Perma's split the costs out there, so the herbicide doesn't seem as expensive as it should be, but the water is more expensive than you would obviously pay to get water filled up in a tank. Electricity costs to run a pump to fill your water up from a well or something are nowhere near $400 per 1,000 liters. So I think at the end of the day, it's all balancing out quite nicely. If we pop open our contract screen here, you can see we're already at 80% of this field done. And so we will be knocking this field out here in just a couple minutes. It looks like maybe even on the pass back up here, we might hit our numbers. There's like a pass and a half left over here of spraying left to do. And we managed to do it with one tank of fertilizer here. You know, we're already down just under 50%, and we've done 80% of this big field. And so if I pop open the map here, field 27 is one of the larger fields on the map. And so I feel confident. I think probably field 2 is a little bit bigger, but given that we're on one of the largest fields in the map, it feels like we'd be able to hit any one field with a full tank of fertilizer in this sprayer. And so that's going to give us a lot of options to run around the map here and knock out some of the smaller fields really quickly. What I don't recall is if I installed the mod that lets you accept multiple contracts at the same time. And so we're going to possibly think about putting that here onto this save game at some point, if we're going to keep doing a little bit more contract work here on this farm. Let's pop open the menu real quick and see. If I come down here to field 19, I cannot have an additional contract, so I don't have that mod installed at the moment, but I think we will definitely be adding that just so that we can make sure that we've grabbed all of those spraying contracts. That way, if we do decide that we want to advance time by a day, we have the option to do so. And just like that, we're done with our contract here. From a realism perspective, I am going to continue to spray out to the end of this field here because I would just feel guilty about leaving that little section. We do still have 34% of our fertilizer left here in the tank. And so I think what we're going to do is get folded up here. We're going to hop across the road and fill up our fertilizer. There's not a lot of traffic on these backcountry roads, so we are going to refill here real quick on the road. Probably something you would not necessarily want to do. I guess we could have pulled over a little bit farther onto the grass there so that we could get onto the shoulder for refilling. But this is going to go right quick for us. And so we're now completely filled up again. And I'm going to just pull this guy off to the side. And we do need to collect our money here, so $25,000 on that contract, and then we want to jump into some more of these. I'm looking at, I think these fields 11 and 12 are right around the corner here, so let's go ahead and grab those. 11 is the closest field, so we're going to grab 11 right now, and we'll jump over there and spray that field here real quick. This should be right on the other side of the co-op here. And so we haven't really done much past the edge of this co-op. We hauled grain to the elevator one time, but admittedly I was more focused with keeping the truck on the road than looking at the fields. So I'm kind of curious to hop over here and check this field out. It looks like it is a cornfield. And so we're going to go ahead and just run over here to the far edge of this corn. Oh, this thing does expand when you unfold it. It would be nice if we could add an option to this sprayer to move the wheels out even when the sprayer boom is folded up so that we could load it on the step deck. That is an edit that needs to get made to this sprayer. Definitely going to be checking that out. Because this would fit on the step deck perfectly then if we had it unfolded like this. with the wheels out. So we're going to set up a GPS track here on this field as well, just to help us keep going. And I'm looking for some terrain. There's not a lot of hills here in this part of the map. So maybe what we need to do is, after we get done with this field, I see a big hill in the distance there. Maybe we'll go over there and see if we can find a contract on one of those hills with the one of those fields with the hill, and see if we can figure out how this boom height adjustment works. We are counting on our fertilizer here, and if I bring up the F1 menu, all is well in the world of precision farming. So we're good to go here from a spraying perspective. This is a nice little area. I like these fields that have these grassy areas in between them, and so you've got some level of egress between the fields, so you can turn around a little bit, or at least not crash into trees and such. And so we're going to take a bit of a headland pass off here, though, because we don't want to be going out into this other farmer's field. We want to stay within the bounds of the field that we're actually contracted to spray. Who knows if the same farmer owns both of these fields? And much like the other field that we just sprayed, this is going very quickly. We're going to cover a lot of acres with this machine, so ideally, being able to pay back a good chunk of the debt that we took out to buy this machine would definitely help me justify the purchase in my mind. Like I said, we spent about $360,000 on the sprayer itself, and then we spent another close to $75,000 on the step deck and the spray cradle. And so together, those two things is another, $430,000 of debt that we took on just to have this awesome sprayer set up. And so we definitely need to make some progress on paying down that loan here. And that's, we're going to take advantage of all the custom spray jobs that need to be done here in the spring, because as we get into later parts of the year, I'm sure there won't be nearly as much spraying available for us to do, and that interest is really going to start adding up here on us pretty quick as the days continue through the year. And so I want to make sure we get as much money back in our pockets as we can to cut down on our interest payments. I really don't want to see us paying out on a almost $600,000 loan to the bank here. This is also a really nice area of the map. One of the things that I like is when maps put a little bit of effort into not making it feel like you're right up on the edge of a map. And so this field, while it is, pretty close to the map boundary, this patch of trees that we've got right to our behind us now do a good job of masking that map edge for us. With the help of GPS here, we're back going down the long path, and it looks like it matches up perfectly with the pass we just took here coming down to the headland. And so this is the long rows on this field, at least, are 3 sprayer widths across, and so it's a very conveniently widthed field. There's not going to be a lot of overlap here as we continue to do our spraying. In fact, we're already 2/3 of the way done spraying this field, so I'm excited at how efficient this is. I'm loving sprayer section control as always, and like I said, I think the next thing for us to do is to go grab a field that has some elevation and hills here to test out this boom height option. We're all done spraying here, so we're gonna head back over to where we left the trailer and get it set up here, or get us topped off, and likely even load up the sprayer and haul ourselves over to the other end of the map here. I'm not sure exactly what fields those are gonna be down there with the hill, and so I think it's probably in our best interest to just drive down there and figure it out. We don't have a whole lot of fertilizer left in there, only 99 gallons, and so we are going to actually Probably need to go back up to the farm here and top off the water in our trailer. And as we're heading back up to the farm here, we've got to collect on our contract there, putting a little bit more money in the bank for us. We've got $46,000 now that we could use to pay back some of our loans. In fact, I think that's probably a good idea to do before we forget. We're gonna pay back as much as we can, $45,000 there. So we're still at $520,000 of debt, which is a lot of debt, but we're making good progress here. We're gonna buy a little bit more water here, and then we're gonna head right back out to see about this field. I'm gonna buy as much water as we have money left. That should be 4,000 liters. And if I just pull up alongside this, we should auto load that, which is good enough for me. We're gonna hopefully make this turn without tipping anything over. And we're gonna head on out here. Our goal is to make it to that hill on the other side of the map. So we've made it to the other end of the map here. Looks like we've got a little bit of rolling terrain on these two hills. And then over here across the way, we've got one big field that has some good elevation on it. And so if I'm looking here, 7, 8, or 31 seem to be the fields of interest to us. And so if I pop into here and just take a quick look, I don't see anything for 31. I do see a field 30, which would be this other field on the other side of the farm, which is completely flat. And so now I'm looking for either field 7 or field 8, preferably field 8. And so we do have a fertilizing contract here on field 8 that we're going to grab. It's a small field. It's not going to take us very long. But hopefully on the outside edge here, we're going to be able to put this auto boom to the test. So let's go ahead and get this thing unloaded real quick. And we'll pull it out into our field over here. We are going to start along the outside edge of this field and just see if we can put this boom down low enough to find a way to get the auto boom height to trigger here. So my hope is that as we navigate this side hill a little bit, and I've got the boom way too low right now, it is into the crops, but I just want to see if this is going to pop up here as we kind of come onto this hill. I'm hoping it's wide enough here to trigger this, but we haven't got it working yet. I mean, we're not technically hitting the ground, but I would have expected it to do something here. So I'm not sure how this boom height thing works. And maybe this is just a poor map to kind of try that out on. We don't have a lot of hilly terrain here. So I was really looking forward to trying out a new piece of functionality, but it looks like we're just gonna be a bit out of luck today for that. However, I do like this sprayer. It's a nice little sprayer here, 36 meter boom. Definitely works well for this custom spraying setup. I just need to figure out how to get the wheels to be able to extend even when the booms are folded up. So that's something that I'm going to look at, just because I hate how we're currently trailering this thing on the truck. I think it looks just a little bit weird. And so hopefully I can move the animation for the wheels to, you know, a mouse control or something like I've seen on most other sprayers. I think that that would be the preferable way of handling it. Either way, I think this was a good business decision in that we are now getting out of debt here, one field at a time. And so if we tackle a few more fields of spraying here, we'll make a pretty healthy dent in our outstanding debt. And I think this is going to work out a lot better than the trailed version of the sprayer. We did end up trading off our 8030 series tractor though for this, because I just didn't think that we really needed the 8030 anymore. We were doing all of our tillage with the big articulated tractor, and we're doing all of our planting with the 7000 series tractor. And so I think that this self-propelled sprayer is really going to replace our need for that third tractor. And so right now we're sitting in a pretty good spot from an equipment perspective, and we're going to keep going on this series, see what other trouble we can get into. So hopefully you've enjoyed getting out here and seeing a couple of new fields on the map. And we will be continuing to hit some odd jobs here around the map next episode. We may branch out and get a worker to help us do some of these contracts while we get set up for wheat harvest next episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for daily farm sim content. That's all for today. Kedrick out. And start spraying down on this long side. Oh my goodness, we put the line through the power lines. The boom right through the power line.